Hello, hello, construction professionals. Welcome to the podcast where we flip the script on what it means to live, breathe, and lead construction today. In this podcast series, we unpack how great construction can really be when you lead with humanity, put people first, and drop the bullshit of the way it's always been done. Our world has changed, our conversations have changed, and it's time construction catches up. Michael, welcome to the show. I'm tremendously turbocharged. Some of our conversation before pushing the record button really amplified the emotion, the experience that we're going to create, the conversation we're going to have. And I couldn't wait to push record because there's so much that the world needs to hear. So welcome. Thanks for making time to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're excited to share a little bit about our story and see if that's helpful to some of your listeners.
Like, here's the thing. We're talking construction. We're talking labor. We're talking budgets. We're talking dollars and cents. This is the reason people are in business. People are in business to turn a profit. Like, you know, the old adage of every job loses money is complete BS, right? If every job lost money, we wouldn't have businesses. That's why businesses are started. And businesses get down to the people doing the work. And it's something super special. There's something super special.
Yeah, we've
Protiv specialized in, and I want you to share that.
Yeah, we find this every day that there's a bit of a disconnect between these guys on the ground who are turning wrenches and they're digging holes and they're, you know, putting together framing, and the workers themselves, their goals, their objectives, their dreams, and then what we are trying to accomplish as companies to be profitable. And I would like to bring those things together a bit more. And we had this problem with our own construction company. We have a construction company in New York City. We have about 100 employees, do mostly multifamily renovation work, kitchens, baths, and floors and paint, etc. And we needed our guys we need you to do a great job and be productive. And they're like, well, we want to get paid more. I'm like, okay, I can pay you more, but let's get more done, right? And so it's that alignment between what we need and they need to be successful. And I think we're all as contractors trying to lean into this idea that jobs should not just be cash flow. Jobs should be profitable. And to do that, I need to do it right the first time. I need my guys to be productive. I need to, have my logistics organized, my pricing organized. If you can do that, there's not a reason you can't deliver productive, profitable work on a consistent basis.
Okay, so is this where the birth of Protiv comes? Like, tell us about Protiv. Tell us where it came from. Tell that whole story.
So the backstory is it's almost funny, right? We were doing, again, multifamily renovation. You got to picture the work environment. You're doing the same basic things day in and day out turn an apartment over, you demo the old kitchen, the bath, you put up some new cabinets, paint the walls, etc., and get someone new in 14 days later, right? So you got a quick time frame. On our construction schedule, we had about, call it 9 days of construction, to do a full renovation of an apartment. So that's got to go fast. So you can imagine a lot of crews doing the same things, all over the kind of unit. Our carpenters were taking about 10 hours to do the kitchen, which is, the cabinets and countertop and whatnot. The reality is, on my work schedule, I needed it done in one day. I needed an 8-hour block of time and then to finish that cabinet installation, on the countertops. And so we were spending about $40 an hour. A couple of carpenters, one guy, Frank in particular, but there were a few others. And I said, look, Frank, I will give you the full $400. The 10 hours you usually spend, $40 an hour. But I need you to do it in 8 hours. I need you to be done and not have to go back and do rework. I need it done right the first time. So Frank, apparently these guys can actually install cabinets in about 6.5 hours. And, it doesn't really take them 10 hours to do it. And so there was this moment of, these guys are so much more productive when they really get into it and they care and they think, and all of a sudden I come in, their job site's organized, they're thinking about their process, they are caring about the logistics. They got motivated to create productivity because it was in their financial interest to do so. And that's where a lot of this came from. I should say that it's one thing to do that just for Frank on one job and pay him $400 for that set of cabinets. It's something else to do it at scale with 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 people, lots of trades, lots of different jobs, people coming and going. That took something else beyond the Excel spreadsheet. And that's really where Protiv began.
So to simplify that even at an even more granular level, we're now what we're seeing is we're sharing the budget with the guys actually doing the work and saying, hey man, if we've budgeted $400 in the case of Frank, I'll give you $400, right? Do it and do it fast.
So if you think about it, my budget, when I bid a job, just like most contractors out there, I've got a labor budget. I think it's going to cost me $2,000 to do this in labor, to do this project, whatever it is, or $20,000, $200, whatever. And that's a number of hours based on my hourly rate of what I pay the team in the field. And if I hit that budget, I've got my material costs, which hopefully I know, my overhead, hopefully I know. So I have a profit number that is what I expected it to be. So on one side of the equation, I've got my profit, overhead, materials, and then I have this variable amount of labor. What we want to do is more fix the labor amount. So to say that if I achieve that goal of $2,000 in labor spend, I'm good. I've made my 15% profit or whatever my profit target is as a contractor.
Yeah.
And that's good. And if my workers make more money per hour, that's totally fine. Like I want that. Actually, it's great. They've earned more. I've incentivized them. I get better people. So connecting those was the key. One of the things that Protiv does that it's not piecework. And I think a lot of people start to say, well, piecework is what we're talking about. That's actually not the structure. And I point that out because hourly pay is not a great way to motivate people. Think about that. Hourly pay does what? Incentivizes you to work more hours. Piecework, the flip side of piecework is not a solution either. Piecework one, is legally problematic. Two, you have a disincentive to quality if the job is going to run long. So if it's going to take too long to do something, now I start to cut corners because I don't want to make less money. Hard to go home and tell mama, sorry, I made less money this week because I was slow, or because the materials weren't there or because it rained or whatever, right? So so neither piecework nor hourly are the right solution in our belief. Our structure was to say you really need a hybrid platform that combines a base hourly rate that protects the workers. Look, you make $25 an hour, you're still going to make $25 an hour. But if you will overperform to the budget, will make the difference. You earn that delta. And that's really what we unlock with Protiv.
So tell me more. How do we unlock that? What's the structure?
So the first step is the assignment of a budget. And you start really as a contractor say, okay, I've got my $2,000 budget. I send that to the team. And whether you're doing it through our software or just on your own, you want to make sure your team knows what your budget is. So that $2,000 budget equals that 100 hours of expected labor that you're going to have. The important thing is for them to see it and know what their goal is. And then we allow them to track how much time they spend on that job. So if that team can finish it in 90 hours instead of 100 hours, they've saved 10 hours of labor, $20 an hour, $200. That $200 is paid to the team as a bonus. The trick is for them to be able to see it and be visible to them. It's not a theoretical bonus on your company's gross profit at the end of the quarter that they may or may not know what their behavior influences. We're showing them your labor, your change in behavior, your effort on Tuesday changes what you're going to get paid on Friday. That's really where that changes the behavior of the worker. Their engagement, their alignment with what I need them to do begins to occur when they can see a transparent, clear, simple bonus incentive, financial incentive to behave and work differently during the week.
So hang on, I got to pull the handbrake on this one. So what I'm hearing here is this is not piecework. It's not hourly pay. It's not a replacement for hourly pay. It's in addition to. Hey, Jonathan, you're still going to make your hourly wage. And if you overperform, rather than making $2,000 this week, you can make $2,100 or whatever that number is going to be. Is that right?
Yeah, and the great part about that is the workers fund that bonus with their own effort. Because they are overperforming to the goal you've set, their raise, their hourly rate that's gone up is because they beat the budget. So it doesn't come from your profit. A lot of times when you set a bonus program in place, what you're doing is you're decreasing your profit because whether it's a Christmas bonus or whether it's something else, that doesn't come from your labor budget. It comes from your company profit. What this program does is it comes from your original labor budget. Your labor budget was $2,000. You're not spending more than $2,000. If that team finishes in 1 hour, congratulations, you just made $2,000 an hour. But you still only spent the $2,000 you expected to spend on the job. That was your budget to begin with. It hasn't cost you anything from your profit side of your business.
And I'm curious, this is more than, okay, boys and girls, we have 1,000, I'm going to pick bigger numbers here. Let's assume it's a little bit of a bigger job. We have here 10,000 hours to complete this job. And fine, so there's different metrics. We don't want to pull the bonus from the profit margin. There are other systems that have been in play where you're like, okay, well, if you come in at 9,000 hours, we're going to give you a percentage of that savings, right? So this is acknowledging, and why I'm saying that. So if I came in at 9,000 hours on the job, and the job was 10,000 hours, well, a bonus will be paid out with that delta, that 1,000-hour difference. That is, as a whole, that may or may not get recognized until the job is at completion, and we know where, as jobs pivot through their life cycle, we lose hours at certain places. So Protiv is doing something different where we're saying, look, we're actually going to pay out the bonus as the task is completed. So you're not waiting to the end of the job, and you're going to know, okay, if finishing is where we lose time, then let's pull up our socks and tighten our boots, team, and finish better. Is that correct?
Generally, what happens on larger jobs, they break it into parts. We call it a ProPay. The ProPay is simply that target-based goal amount that the worker, that team is going to earn for that task, job, project, whatever. So if you have a $100,000 project, then you can oftentimes break it into phases, break it into trades. People, just depends on how you budget and estimate your job. We generally find that breaking it into parts does a couple of things for you. First, it allows you to keep the team aligned at a more granular level. Setting their goal on a great big project can sometimes separate the reward from the action chronologically, and you begin to lose that emotional connection in their head. But the second thing it does is it informs back to your estimating when you have more granular analysis of how did we perform against that part of the job. Every time we do a job, maybe installing kitchen cabinets, did we budget that part of the job well? It was a big renovation program. We had lots of different trades in there, but the cabinet part, wow, they really overperformed. We put too much money into the estimate for the cabinets because these guys did it so much faster. Or maybe, wow, it took them forever to get the wall prep done because we didn't put enough hours into that. They missed their bonus goal, etc. So there's an information that flows back to estimating about what is our productivity and our output on each part of a job when I have a motivated team, because it's different than when you don't have a motivated team. You will have a different level of productivity from your group, and your estimating team then can benefit from that going forward. I'll flip it over though. We do have clients that do big ProPay. We actually just finished, I think, one of our larger ones. It was almost $100,000 single project. Took several months. I think it was 3 months long. The team made on a $95,000 project, the team made a $14,000 bonus. That's how productive they were. The company was ecstatic because they were so happy they hit their budget of $95,000 in labor. They were profitable on the job. Customer was happy because the project finished early, and that team was able to rotate into the next project sooner. The benefits of
this is interesting. Sure. You said a couple of things that really resonate with me, actually, and I want to go back to, I want to rewind a little bit, where you talked about by breaking it down, now we actually have illuminated a tangible metric to compare. Look, are we estimating appropriately? Right? We know estimate. Look, estimate's an estimate. At the end of it all, an estimate's an educated guess, and the more knowledge and information we have, the better our guessing can become.
Yes.
Right. And what happens, we've seen it over time, is we create that disconnect. The guys on site say, well, we underestimated. You guys think that there's that old narrative of office versus site, which we're breaking those barriers. And that narrative is, the office estimated 1,000 hours. It took it 1,100 hours. What do you want from us? Right. Well, now you're actually getting granular to close that gap to say, boys, hey, shame on us. We make a mistake once, we learn from it. The next time, let's all get better. Right? So now it's you're sharing that responsibility, that accountability.
Yeah, when your workers come to you and give you feedback on how to make your business better. Not because they're angry, but because they care. Think about that conversation, and I'll use the example just from the other day. This company talked about their landscaping installation company. Their sod delivery would be 2 or 3 hours late, and the workers would just sit and wait because it didn't matter to them. They're just getting paid by the hour.
They're getting paid, yeah.
The flip side is now the guy's like, if their materials are late, within minutes, the workers are on the phone with the project manager going, what the heck? Where's our stuff? You're costing us money. And it puts pressure, and maybe it's an uncomfortable pressure, but it's a positive pressure on an organization to improve its logistics, its estimating, its project management, its tools, its process, all of those things. Even the workforce itself, it all gets pressure to raise performance levels because the team begins to care. You have 4 or 5 people working a job. You imagine when Bob doesn't do something right or is slow, and the other 4 workers look over at him like, Bob, what the heck? Can you not tell a hammer from a level? How long is it going to take you to move that wheelbarrow of mulch? At a certain point, you need the team putting pressure on the team to perform. Your supervisors can only be so many places. As an owner, you can only be so many places at a time. And if you ever want to grow out of your own shadow as a contractor, you can't be at the job site all the time. So, which is one of those things. A lot of contractors, we get stuck at a certain size because we can't nothing can happen if we can't physically see it. We're not at the job site. And to grow, you've got to eventually not be at every job site all the time. So
Bingo.
there's a necessity to get the people when you're not there to care, to do it right the first time, to care about their productivity, to care about the quality of what the work they do.
Yeah, this is tremendously magical, right? Now, look, when you take accountability for everything that happens in your life and there's no one to blame, something magical occurs, right? And now we're closing that, we're breaking those barriers, we're closing that gap to say, Jonathan, the sod was supposed to arrive here. It's 5 minutes late, man. Like, we got 3 guys here that are pretty pissed off because they know that every minute counts. And now, look at this is so exciting, right? This is now it's like you're calling each other up, right? You're not calling each other out. You're calling each other up because you expect more. Jonathan, come on, man. Answer your damn phone. Get on the phone. Where the hell's the damn sod guy? And I don't know, Michael. This creates creativity, right? To loop the sod company in. Boys, get that sod here faster, and there's a bonus for you too, right? I don't know. But this is creativity. This is where it occurs, right?
It's company culture, too. I just love this idea that we're right now, we have a summer barbecue or something for our people. What are the things they get T-shirts with our logos on them. What are you really doing to build a culture of accountability, of quality, of productivity, of understanding metrics, of caring about the customer's experience and the customer outcome? What are you doing to build true company culture deep into an organization where the workers actually do truly care about it? And to do that, you've got to get people aligned on the same side of the table as to what they're trying to accomplish, about why certain things matter to them. Logistically, maybe they don't care whether the auger to put in the post holes takes forever, or maybe the concrete mixture you got us is broke half the time. If it doesn't matter as much to them, then they won't say anything about it. They won't talk about your tools. They won't talk about their processes that they use. Here's a great example. If you hire someone to do a task, we're going to dig a ditch. And I'm going to hire you, John. I would like you to go dig this ditch from here to here, and I'm going to here's your shovel and go. And if sitting right next to the ditch is a trencher, and I'm only paying you to dig the ditch, and I hand you the shovel, and you start digging with the shovel, if I just paid you for your brain, you would say, "Can I just use this trencher? I'll be done in a few minutes." Right? I want to pay you for your back, the function of doing the task, and I want to pay you for your brain. It's kind of funny because you get a free brain with every back. Every person you hire, you get this free brain that comes with it. Now, some are better than others, and some of the ideas that your people may bring you, you're like, that's not really going to work. But it wouldn't be cool if they brought you ideas and if they cared enough to say, let's try and make something better. And the very act of doing that moves a company forward.
I think so. And what the other thing that's surfacing for me is as we're pivoting through this discussion, my mind is being blown up by the second. So thank you for this. This is super cool because it also holds accountability to ownership, leadership, the estimate, everybody. It's like, okay, by the way, the old adage of let's just throw, 3 hours into digging that ditch. Okay, but if Michael's digging the ditch, do I actually want it, Michael? How long is it going to take you to dig that ditch? You're getting better at the work you're doing because we're putting more accurate numbers. We're not just throwing. Look, we all have standardized rates, right? All square footage rates, whatever you want to call it. We're all educated enough to go to we've lived it. We have a baseline. What could it look like to re-engage with the people? And John, you know that go spend the $125 for the shovel rather than the $100 because the hair doesn't snap off as much. I don't know, but now you're creating a culture, a community that actually cares.
Yeah, it's the first step. And what we find is that sometimes companies start with other types of rewards. And a quarterly bonus or a Christmas bonus may be the most common, or other things that they may do. The reality is and this is kind of getting a little academic and statistical, but workers making under $70,000 a year, money's first. If you don't get the money right, everything else is irrelevant. You have 60% of our workforce, 63% working paycheck to paycheck. I think it's half of them that only have $250 a month in disposable income. You have to get the money part first. If you're paying them well and they've got some they're personally tied a bit to what they can earn by their own behavior, that then you can unlock other things. I can create classes for you to learn, do skills. I can do non-monetary rewards. All those other things start to mean more because I've first taken care of that. Think of it as that Maslow hierarchy of needs thing, right? I've first taken care of your safety need, which is, give you enough money to pay for your food and your housing, etc. Now we can get into other stuff. If you want to flex time for a day off here or something like that, that stuff is really powerful, and people are often motivated by those type of tools. But get the money part first. It has to start there where they feel like they're being compensated for that extra effort that they're going to put in.
Bingo. 100%. I mean, I call it a hygiene factor. If we're not going to pay people well, then let's not even have this conversation, guys. Right? You want great talent. You want the right people. Pay them. Period.
We want to. I actually, most of the contractors we talk to would like to pay their people more, but they've got to get something in return. It can't just come from profit. Our margins are too tight. I don't know about everybody else listening out there, but we don't make that much money, considering the risks we take and the margins in this business are not all that great. I guess if I could get my customers to pay me faster, it'd be better, but it's a whole different thing. There's a tough industry, and if you're going to be successful at it, you need great people. And to get the best people, you've got to have a good compensation plan. In our construction company and several of our clients now, we lead our interviewing and hiring process with our compensation structure because it's innovative and because it motivates the right kind of workers. Look, the reality is you're going to have today, if you look at your workforce, anybody listening out there, yourself, If you've got 10 people, 2 of them are your best people, and they would be your best people no matter what. They're intrinsically, personally, just better workers. They've just got a work ethic, is what we often call it, that is just stronger than the norm. Then you've got 2 guys, guys at one level that are just terrible. They're just slow. They nothing you do seems to work for them. They complain a lot. They're most of your problems. Then you've got your group in the middle, the 6 people in the middle. I'm not always solving for the 2 at the bottom, and the 2 at the top are always great. What I want to do by aligning incentive to production, I want to take those 6 in the middle and bring them up. And create, and I can do as much work with those 6 and those top 2 as you can do with the whole set of 10. Like, in fact, I can probably do more. I can have a smaller team doing the same work. I can do more work with a bigger team because I get a team that's motivated. So that I will take a smaller team that's well motivated over a big team that has a bunch of problems on it any day. You'll be a more profitable contractor as soon as you make that choice. Yeah, there's a way too many people on payrolls out there. People listening here, you know who those workers are. They probably cost you far more money than you realize, just because they don't bring quality, productivity, a positive attitude to your job site every day.
Okay, so I'm curious now. Let's transition this right to a larger job. Let's talk a multi-residential facility, even a low-rise, a condo. Okay,
sure.
And let's call it a couple of $1 million contract condo. So you've got larger sized crews, right? Historically, you've got a budget that comes from headquarters and says, "Here's our budget, boys," and that's based on right. The estimate. Sometimes historical precedences, whatever it is. Here's your estimate. It goes to the foreman. The foreman may or may. Let's assume the foreman. The company culture is transparent enough to share with the foreman. Here's your budget. It's 30,000 hours. And, here's your material budget. Now, how does Protiv break that barrier to share that information of 30,000 hours with the 30 guys on site? What's the platform?
First of all, our assumption is that you're a self-performing contractor, and you've got 25 people out there. We're a tool designed for the team on the ground. So if you're a GC that subs everything you do, our product doesn't do anything for you because your subcontractor is the one that uses it. So most likely a project like that, I've got an electrical sub, a plumbing sub.
Yes.
But let's just pretend for the moment I've got 30 carpenters and handymen and painters and drywall guys, all flooring guys, all that's on my own payroll. I self-perform all of those trades.
Sure.
Most of the time, what we do, what most of our clients do, we would take that 30,000 hours and we would break it into the phases and or the trades for the project. So I would take and say, here's my demo. I've got 300 hours of demo in this. And so I have a demo team, and that 300 hours, $20 an hour, I got $6,000 for you guys to get the demo done. And if you'll beat the demo budget, you make the difference. So if they can get it done in less than that, if they get it done in 250 hours, that 50 hours times that $20, congratulations, guys, you just made a bonus. Goes on your next paycheck. So the team doing the demo gets, they've got their propay. Then you've got maybe your rough carpenter coming in, and that may be a propay. Maybe you do that by phases. I got my rough carpentry for building 1, building 2, building 3. And I know that I've got 175 hours in each of those, and
sure,
dollars. So that carpentry team gets a propay, and they know what their goal is. And the foreman can show it to them right on their phone. They get the goal right on their phone. We have a calculator that comes right to it's a text that they get that goes to a calculator that they can see what their goal is, how many hours have been used against the goal so far, and they can adjust when they think it'll be done to what that means in terms of a bonus. So your foreman and your workers can talk with each other about the goal. We've got 4 days to finish this job. If we get it done in 3, here's how much it's worth to us as a team. Here's what our goal is. Here's that target number for us. And they can see their progress against it. That transparency to the number is what allows them to have faith in it and change behavior. If all you did was say to your foreman, you've got 30,000 hours for this, and if you beat it, by X%, I'll put a bonus on your next quarterly check, you will do nothing to change the behavior of your team at the job site. Nothing.
No.
The foreman may run around and wave his arms more at people, but they do that already. If you want to change behavior, the worker has to see what it means for them on the next paycheck or maybe the one after. We try and keep these things, you stretch it out too much chronologically. The project, you lose that connection between the reward and the behavior. And so what we're trying to do is create smaller pieces of these jobs, usually based on the way you estimate the job. When you estimate that big project, you've got it broken into parts. You've got a budget for your electrical, a budget for your carpentry, et cetera. And that's generally how these get broken out and assigned to the teams.
Well, you even go look. Electrical is my skill set and strength. So you can go granular. Like, look, guys, we've got 100 receptacles to install here. Here's the number of hours we've got. But now what you're suggesting is, and if I'm understanding correctly, with the ProPay, if I'm the guy doing the plugs and switches, I can actually log on to my phone and see where we're at. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So now I'm held accountable, and I'm also hey Joe, hurry the hell up, man. We got to get off this floor, because we get off this floor, it's $50 each, right?
We know as workers what it's worth to us to stay ahead of schedule. And importantly, this is an important part for people to understand. If, let's say that I'm doing my rough, on my electrical, and I put all my boxes in, and I don't know about you, my dad was an electrician, so he would come and he would look at where I put those boxes and usually tell me why I did it wrong. And they're like, that's not straight. That one's not good. Move that one up, whatever. And if it's not done right, that bonus amount that I had sitting there is now going away because I'm still working against that budget. So it's not in my interest to rush. It's in my interest to do it right the first time. I have a carpenter on video that actually said on the video that his approach to quality changed when he started doing ProPay, because in his words were, it costs me too much money to go back. And I'm like, wow, welcome to my world. That I don't know about people listening, but we don't bid jobs high enough to do them twice. If I have to go back, I probably just broke even on the job. And if I go back twice, I lost money. So we need our team to do it right the first time. And the software, they will quickly learn when they get paid like this to do it right the first time. I've often thought the only thing you have to do here is think about how to save time as a worker and do it right the first time. And then keep your job site organized and clean and neat. That's my pet peeve, personal. But if you'll keep your job site organized, figure out how to save time, come up with ways to save time, and do it right the first time. Your average hourly rate will go up. Our average worker being paid this way is earning nearly, not kidding about this number, we just did update it yesterday, 18.5% more per hour than they were making before. And labor costs at those customers have come down at the same time.
And so this doesn't matter whether it's a unionized, non-union, doesn't make a difference, because it can be implemented in any capacity.
We've done this with prevailing wage work, and it works great there. We've done prevailing wage jobs, and the software manages for that. We've not done a union shop yet, but I would love to. I would love to, because it's all upside. There's no penalty structure here for the tradesmen, and I believe that it incentivizes the right kind of behavior, the right kind of thinking. And I believe a lot of union workers they're really skilled at what they do. They have the talent to produce at volume and do jobs right the first time. I think this helps them to get rewarded more for being more productive. Right now, they're rewarded for being there, and and that's great, and they're well paid for that. And I think that's a strong business model to say, if you will produce more on top of it, I'll actually even reward you even further, because it's worth a lot to us as contractors to be on schedule. Only 30% of construction jobs finish on time. I think that's like a Procord number or something. It's crazy. I mean, just jobs don't finish on time, and we're not good at that as an industry. Now, a lot of reasons for that. Just having workers work quicker isn't the only part of that solution, but it is a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about unionized environment. It's so magical because I've lived and worked both scenarios, non-union and unionized sector. There's so much upside to even in the union, the contractor remits to the union for every hour worked. If you're not reducing hours, not only are you paying the employee more, where he actually cares, he or she cares to show up and do a good job the first time. We're retaining workforce. Like we're talking, we're battling an era where one of the hardest things that keeps showing up is I can't get people. Never mind getting people, retaining the people that are there. Yeah. So now you're breaking that barrier, and you're still saying to the corporation or the company doing the work who's a unionized environment. By the way, guys, if the job gets done in 10 hours, and opposed to 12, you're only remitting 10 hours to the union.
Right. But the worker still makes the worker
still makes the money,
which is
They're
great.
Still going to make the money, yeah.
The worker themselves benefits from it, but your actual fringe amount can come down. Effectively, that piece of thought. We've seen that with the prevailing wage. Is fringe can actually be a little bit lower, even though it's complete. The worker makes the full amount that they would get paid. So it's all upside for the worker, and it eliminates wasted costs towards fringe that you don't really need to pay, which is it's pretty cool.
I love. There was a statement I read, and whether it was on the website or wherever the literature came from, about aligning the company and the employee in a shared objective of producing quality work faster. Yeah. Bingo. Like, you've really unpacked that. Thank you. Because again, it's quality. Now we're also talking like, hey man, I don't have time to. You said it. When we estimate the job, you don't estimate to go back 3 times.
Sure don't.
Right?
It is maybe the bane of our industry. It's between logistics of materials being there when we need them, availability of labor, and rework. Can't afford it. It's too expensive. Yeah. Do it right the first time, and I'll happily effectively share some of that upside with the team, and that's really what we're doing. Wow.
I gotta say, it also caught my attention when we're talking about linking cost to production and investing in a team. Like, that's actually what we're doing. We're organically sending a message out to the universe to say, look, here, people, we care, we see you, we understand you, and by the way, we're an organization that you're going to want to stick with, right? Because we're in a space where we're battling for people. $5 changes the game. I'm going to leave for $5. Well, now we've just not only level set the field, we've amplified it. Here's what else is possible, right?
If you link compensation to productivity, your best people will never leave you, ever. Yeah. There's no way they could walk into a competitor and say, okay, I know I actually make 20% more above market norms because I'm that good. No one would believe that. We really give you the opportunity to retain your very best people forever. They will never leave, and you'll have more of them. It will also help you recruit the best people. When you show people how to get paid this way, it changes the way they look at coming to work for you versus where they are today. The best people love this the most. It's really a transformative piece for them personally. It's really cool too, because the workers, because they're earning quite a bit more. These guys are making $500, $700, $800 a month more than they were before, $1,000 a month more. I mean, that's their rent, that's their vehicle payment. These are real numbers to families, and it creates the kind of community we want from our tradespeople, from us as employers, and the workers that count on us.
100%. I'm ecstatic by hearing all this. This is where I often ask the question when somebody's sitting around having a coffee or a beer, with their buddies, saying, "Why do you work for the company you work for?" Well, I don't know. They pay me well. Well, that's a hygiene factor, man. Like, especially if you're in a unionized environment, you're gonna, even if you're not, like, you can go to the next company and offer the same thing. Now it's like with Protiv, it enables transparency. It enables creativity, because we've unpacked that enough times through this conversation to say, you're going back to the guys doing the work to say, tell me more about what you need to succeed better, because I want to see you succeed better. You can loop in everybody. You can loop in the not only the ownership, but you can loop in the guys pricing the jobs. You can loop in the guys executing the jobs. You can loop in suppliers. I don't know, man. This is where creativity steps up. Hey, if I get that box of screws by 6 a.m. rather than 6:30 a.m., that changes everything.
I lost you.
Michael, you there?
I lost you there for a minute. It kind of went blank on it.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem. We had some technological issues, not the first or last time. So, we're saying, the thought was leave listeners with one thought. You're saying, give it a try. Give it a try.
So, if I leave you with one thing, is give this concept a try. There's no downside to it. Invest a little bit into your people. Give them a budget to shoot for and see if they can beat it. You don't have to use a software like ours if you don't want to. Just try it on one job with one team and see how it changes behavior. It's a function of trusting a little bit in their approach to their own self-interest, right? Trust that they're people and they've got goals and dreams of their own, and trust that if it's better for them, it's going to be better for you. You've got a budget, see if they can beat it. And we make that easy to do with the software, but it can be done, just go try it. Try it, trust in your team, invest in your team, care about your team, put them first, care about your people. They're the ones who provide your product. What's that old saying that, your people take care of your customer takes care of your profit. So take care of your people.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you. That's just a holistically humanistic approach to it. We're not here saying, beat on your chest and say, try this, try this. No, just try the concept. Chew on the concept. Think about it. Take care of your people. And that's what it's all about. Super fun question for you. Super fun question coming your way.
Sure.
Last 12 months. What's something in the last 12 months that you've done that you'll remember for the rest of your life?
I got married. So that was a big one. Yeah. So
that's married. A big one to remember?
Yeah. She's better than I deserve. What are we going to do? So, yeah, this is fun. We just did that.
Michael.
Married into a big Arab New Jersey family for a quiet country boy. It was, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. They're amazing. So,
well, that's awesome. Congratulations. Stuff. That's great, man. That's great.
Thank you very much.
This conversation has been magical. And thank you for making time for me, for our listeners today. How the heck do people get in touch with you? How do they learn more?
Sure.
What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Protiv.com, Protiv, Protiv.com is a great source. If you just kind of want to learn about our approach to compensation and rewards, you can try it for free. We literally let people try the software for free. It's super easy to give it a shot on a job. And we actually have a guide, a 5-step guide to production-based compensation. Give that out for free. Whether you ever use our system or not, we believe in the idea of this as a way of elevating our industry and the workers who we count on every day. So that's a great way to do it. Michael@protiv.com if you want to email me.
Thank you, Michael. That's the whole thing. It's guys, we're not here to shove something down your throat and say, try this product. No, listen. In fact, just explore it. Consider the idea. Yeah. And if it sticks and it serves you well, then dig in. Michael, thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's an honor to have you here. This is magical for me. This is game changing for me. This is thank you for creating this opportunity for folks out there.
All right. Excited to do it. And we'll stay in touch, Jonathan. Thank you so much. People first.
Thank you, Michael.
Absolutely.